Hey guys, welcome to LALoveCreative, and today we're talking about tips for boudoir photography, as well as some behind the scenes from previous shoots that I've done. If you haven't, make sure you hit the bell so you can stay notified when we post new videos. Cue the intro. Now, I've been shooting boudoir photography for a while. I, on occasion, will have to do maybe some shoots for a agency or a lingerie brand, a swimwear company. A lot of this stuff starts to blend together, and I thought this video was a great time to not only showcase some behind the scenes that I've done for various shoots, but also kind of break down some tips and tricks on things I would consider when shooting this type of photography. The first tip I'd consider when shooting boudoir or swimwear or anything like that is I would change up my lighting. A lot of the times when you're shooting something like fashion or you're shooting commercial work, something that's bright and, colorful or whatever, you're thinking on a totally different high key type of way of shooting. I think when you're shooting boudoir, you're really shooting something that's more in the shadows. You're shooting something that's more concealing. You're trying to show the body, but at the same time, you're trying to keep things obviously properly exposed, but at the same time, this is the moment where you might want to crush the blacks. You might want to have stuff in shadow. You might want things to be falling off into the light. When I'm shooting boudoir photography, I prefer to light with natural light. However, even if I'm gonna use strobes or continuous light, LEDs, whatever, I always try to figure out a way to position the lights at a 45-degree angle, try to make sure that there's a good amount of shadow when you're shooting this type of work. A lot of times clients like to be somewhat mysterious. They like to kind of be hidden a little bit. Maybe they're not as, confident about being completely exposed. That was like a play on word, completely exposed, like exposed and also exposed like lighting. And try to keep that in mind when it comes to lighting. Another tip I would consider when shooting boudoir photography would be to try to change it up a little bit. I know that a lot of times you are stuck in the same location, especially right now. We're all stuck in our homes, or we're limited in the different locations we can access, the different amount of crew, whatever. Try to spice things up with your backgrounds and your locations. Now, if you can't leave your location, I think one of the best ways to spice up your background right now, I don't know why I'm saying spice up, like this is like some relationship advice. Spice up your love life. Now, when it comes to changing up your background, a great suggestion that I've been doing a lot of right now is just adding different textures to my backgrounds, even though I'm shooting in the same location. A great way to do that would be to put maybe a sheet up on a C-stand or a backdrop stand. Maybe experiment with different color sheets. I think this look is amazing. I love messing with this look. I love having it really tight where you don't see the whole setup. And I even like to be able to show the whole setup because something about it feels kind of, like behind the scenes, but also boudoir photography. Another great example would be to find different locations that really could possibly level up your backgrounds. One of the great examples of this was I found this wall in one of my shoots, and it was this wall that I always saw all the time. And I always saw how the light just dappled onto the wall. And I would always look at it and go, man, that's really cool. And it was like some office building. I'm like, oh, wow, that's really cool. And then one day I'm like, I'm just going to shoot there. And I literally just took a model there and we did something that was a little bit less boudoir, more lingerie with clothes, but at the same time, it looked really great. And I thought that was a great way to spice up your background and also bring some life to your images. One of the things I really like to do when I'm trying to switch up my photography style is I like to change my lens. I a lot of times get set, and I know a lot of you probably feel this way too, where you get set on using the same lens all the time. Oh, I shoot landscape with this lens. I shoot street photography with this lens. Oh, I have to use my 85mm to shoot portraits. I think it'd be really good to just switch things up. If you have to, maybe borrow a lens, maybe use a lens that you normally would never use for certain things. Mess around with shooting portraits with wide angle. Mess around with using really super telephoto lenses like 200mm, 135mm. just really mess around with different types of things. And I think it'll be a great service to your work, and you'll get some really good looks out of it. And my last tip would be try to establish a really, really good work environment. Try to make things as comfortable and inviting and as friendly as you can when you're working. Obviously, this applies to all different types of photography, but just try to do this. A lot of times girls are shooting this and it can be kind of awkward. It can be kind of uncomfortable. But if you make the environment really, really fun and friendly, the time will fly and everyone will be having a good time, and your pictures will really turn out well if you do this. So that's all my tips and tricks I have right now about boudoir photography. If you have any tips or tricks, let me know in the comments below, and I will see you next time. See you later.